Okay, so we're going to be doing a top 10 tier list with some honorable mentions. And basically, I just took the people in S plus and S tier and then some in A tier. All right, so that's basically how we're going about this. This is for Dorothy's update. And I mean, obviously, if she's in this, she's going to be in the top 15, I guess. I'm saying top 10, but it's technically top 15. So how am I really gonna rank this? First of all, how good they are on their teams, how much they offer to their teams, how much they impact, right? I'm not really gonna be going off of defense. I have been using Dorothy, especially in RTA, but every unit I use more so in RTA. So it's mainly gonna be an attack focused kind of video. So keep that in mind. Now, for like the really high end units, it's either that on their specific team, they are just completely destructive, and then also that they're usable on many different team variations and are not restricted. So that's not obviously going to be really like for Vetto, for example, he is kind of restricted to mono green, right? I think we could all agree with that. Same with probably Leona. But because they're so good, it kind of like nulls the fact, it kind of like cancels out the fact that they only really work on mono green, if that makes sense. So I want to see your guys' top 10 list down below, who you think is top 10 with rankings, or what you disagree with in this video if you listen to my reasonings, right? If you didn't listen to my reasonings, I don't really want you guys commenting on my list, all right? I think that's pretty important. But now, why don't we just start? I mean, pretty simple. Noel's number one. Okay, she just works everywhere. She's basically a staple on every single unit. Like any new unit that comes out, she's pretty much a staple at this point in the game. Obviously, that's probably going to switch since Lumiere is going to be a light attacker. And that probably is, it's going to be good for the game considering that a light attacker means we could have supporters of other typing. So Noel might go down. I'd still say she'll be S plus though. She gives stun block, SP, like a bajillion SP, damage reduction, more damage reduction, invulnerability is the main one. And of course, she's first to go. So like giving that damage reduction in some cases is really good. And then also she taunts while being able to do some damage. That taunt, it could be good, it could be bad, but usually it will end up being good. So that's why she's number one. She basically just, I'd say she gaps the game right now because that invulnerability is way too strong. When you consider everything else, right? It's so good. Like her kit is beautiful. So she is definitely currently the goddess of BCM, uncontested, basically uncontested. No, not even Black Divider kind of gets close to Noel. But of course, Black Divider is next. Now, Black Divider being here really is only because all the other DPS kind of suck. If we're being honest, they're not nearly as good on like rainbow teams or just non-mono teams. Cough cough, you know, right? And Magna too now. Like BDA is good. The problem is he basically like it's so easy to win versus Black Divider teams, I find. And it's like, I don't know, like even with Dorothy, if I don't mess up and I like as long as Black Divider gets one turn, you could basically make his life living hell. Because he could be silenced, right? So he can't protect, and then at that point, especially with Dorothy, like it just, you kind of just keep on slowing him down after the first time, and he ain't gonna really play, right? And it's kind of like at that point, it's very easy, right? And even with Black Divider teams, killing other Black Dividers is simple, which makes sense. With Mono Green too, and it's like with Julius too, you could do it. Now, does it take more effort with a Julius, for example? Sure. You could also do it with Raya, which is where it's like, okay, you could start doing it with a lot of people. So, I don't know, I'd say he's like, S, right? I don't know if I'd say S plus anymore, but he is good. I don't know, like he is the best DPS, right? I'd say by far almost, but it's like, you know. You guys give me your thoughts on Black Divider and how you find to face him, because I really feel that he's just not really on that level anymore. Like it's not to say he's bad, he's literally number 2 in the game. It's just I feel like so many things trump him right now. And then we get to a meta where Lumiere might have uncancelable barriers. And it's like, what is Black Divider going to do versus that, even if he's type advantage, right? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But I just don't see Black Divider on the same tier as Noel anymore. Now, number 3 is Vetto. Okay, number 3 is Vetto. He's proving to be so annoying. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number 1, he taunts people that have taunt block, okay? So that's a huge one. So Noel and Charlotte that have taunt immunity or taunt removal, it doesn't work because his is an enhanced taunt. He's very tanky. he has immortality too, and then he taunts every single turn. The taunts are just too toxic because of how many units don't want to be taunted in the top 10. Well, in this case, like even Black Divider doesn't want to be taunted. Noel, Vanessa, right? Like all the Mimosas, like no one wants to be, especially like debuffers and supporters mainly. So it's just Vetto is so good. I'm almost considering putting him over Black Divider. I'm very close. Like I'm very close, guys. I'd say these two are almost interchangeable. And I would like your personal opinions, okay? This is something that, you know, if you want to tell me what you think, you go ahead. Do you think Vetto's better? Do you think Black Divider's better? I don't know. But Vetto really is just so good if you have a proper HP build on him, on mono green. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Now, next up, this is a bit, I guess, unorthodox, but these two Mimosas are pretty much on the same level. And they do such similar things that I feel like they kind of deserve both number 4. Because their main thing is rezzing, and then the rest is kind of like their little gimmicks. For example, Mimosa cannot be taunted, so technically she could always rez. Okay, that's a very important thing. But then this Mimosa AoE heals every time it's her turn, even if she's taunted. Okay, and then also has dot removal and gives a bunch of SP. If you don't want to like use her ult, you could also combo and give your combo mage more SP. And like technically you're giving that combo mage 4 SP if she's at least the 2 loops, and then when she dies she heals everyone. So to me, like this Mimosa has her stuff, but that taunt immunity is so strong, and she gives defense increase, right? And you know, her healing less is better with Black Divider in a lot of cases, because obviously Black Divider doesn't want to be max HP. So I'd say these two really are interchangeable. So that's kind of my thoughts on that right now, right? Now, next up is Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa is really good still because of her immortality removal with the ability to mobility increase the defenders. And sometimes when there's 2 defenders, they're both getting the mobility increase. And 2 defenders getting a 50% increase, like sometimes it completely helps your team with that. And then obviously her invulnerability, right? And then there's like her whole kit is good. Skill 1 gives SP, skill 2 can let you apply debuff immunity. Very strong, very strong. Her ult gives invulnerability. Her combo is immortality removal, and then her passive, well, buffs up the what's it called? Buffs up the mobility of the defenders, which you could have double defender teams. So keep that in mind for sure. Vanessa, I'd say, is quite the unit, right? Quite the unit. It's pretty insane. Now, next up is Yuno. As a DPS, like, he's good. He works on mono green and off mono green. I mean, yesterday I tested it with Dorothy, and if I didn't mess up, low-key, like, I would have been fine most of those matches. And in the future, like, not the future, actually, I'm kind of going a bit off of JP, which is, I wouldn't usually do it, but you could have HP pieces, HP rectangle pieces, that are vertical now. They changed it from horizontal to vertical, which means you could slot in one of the magic attack pieces, rectangles, for a vertical HP piece now, which is going to let Yuno be tanky, because his only problem is turn 1. I really do think his best team is with Dorothy or with mono green, right? If we're saying off mono green, then obviously I would say that he does kind of need one of those HP pieces in the future to not be killed instantly. But we saw he even got comboed right away. I had defense necklace on him, but he got comboed and he did not die, right? So that's what I think is very important for him to live turn 1. Which is why he's 6. Like, his silences are very strong. His skill 2 silence, he could silence Black Divider, and he lowers mobility a bunch, and he also has MO removal, which MO removal is a oppressively strong mechanic, okay? Now this is where I got Dorothy for now, okay? Technically, she's number 8 in the game. I started off by saying number 6. I thought she was better than Vanessa. And then also, you know, like, technically, yeah, she's number 8. Before, she went up, like, she went down 2 spots, actually. My initial tier list, or, like, rankings that I sent to Ali had her in 6. And then there was no, like, Clover Mimosa was in 10th, right? So, like, I moved her up because I'm like, yeah, no, it makes sense for them to be about equal. And then also, Yuno was below Dorothy. But now I'm like, nah. I used Yuno and he feels very good, and then he's obviously good on mono green, and so there we go. So why is Dorothy here? This is the main point of the video. I wanted to talk about Doro, and people say she does nothing, which is just outright false. Her, like, first of all, buff immunity is very strong. Okay, max dupe buff immunity, very strong. It stops cleave teams, it stops anyone from dying, it stops you from Mimosa from being killed, because William speed increases, attack increases, and then guaranteed Mimosa dies, right? So that is one thing. Dorothy stops that, first of all, and then the minute one person doesn't have debuff immunity, which usually the the DPS doesn't. You target the DPS, by the way, also putting silence, which silences Black Divider's skill 2, which stops him from using protection. Keep that in mind. When you stop that, okay, then you're able to snowball, because Black Divider is going to get a debuff, and then if you hit him next turn, guess what? You're just going to be spreading the debuffs, because if you don't attack the others, there's a lower chance of you getting debuff immunity. Keep that in mind. So that's why you have to be very smart with how you play with Dorothy. And I'm slowly like starting to understand after 4 hours of me doing showcases. It's kind of insane. I think I've fallen on the team with Chaos Vanessa. I really like that team. But the main thing I've seen is you combo. Oh, this is the best thing to do. You combo with the supporting mage. Hopefully that goes before Dorothy. So Vanessa goes before Doro. So you combo with Vanessa on the DPS, and then Dorothy ults the DPS, and then it spreads the speed lower on everyone. Literally, there's 0% chance you don't spread the speed lower. And y'all love speed lower on Lotus, right? Like, Lotus back in the day was amazing, but now it's like harder to get, and it's not AoE, it's not guaranteed. But in this case, it is. If the comboing partner with Dorothy is going before Dorothy, they could combo on the DPS. Dorothy ults the DPS, silences Black Divider in this case, for example, and then it spreads speed no matter what. So keep that in mind. The DPS usually does not have the resolution talent because they want to have skill 2 cooldown lower, or they want to have accuracy, or they want to get, what's the other one? I think those are the two main, right? I might be tripping. So yeah, Dorothy is good because of that. And then obviously her silence very good, but then the minute the debuff block doesn't apply, she just skyrockets, right? But then there's also the fact that no matter what, debuff block is not going to apply on everyone, but her problem really is mono green, which is why they're all above her, right? They're all above her, but her being weak against that one team really, I don't think puts her that far off, because I've still won against mono green. You guys could go back to the videos with the different teams. I have won against mono green. I don't think every single time, keep that in mind, but I have won. Now, we have to realize is a lot of the top teams just trade, right? It's one little difference that really makes a trade. It's not like it's Dorothy oppressively losing. No. She is very close to winning. It's just she doesn't end up winning in some cases, but then she does win in other cases, which is why I think Dorothy is number 7, okay? So now after Dorothy is Mario. Now why is Mario below her? I was gonna put her. This was the original tier list, but then I'm like, wait, Mario only has mono green for her to really thrive. Now there is another team with Black Asta, but you don't really see that team as much on global. So I don't really want to put Mario number 7 because she's restricted to one team and she's not always doing the most in my opinion. I don't know, like, I've been fighting a lot of Mario Leonas, and she's really not been a problem. I guess because Dorothy lowers her magic attack and damage dealt, Mario's burns become just so weak, right? The damage on the burns become weak. And I don't know, I just don't really feel like she's that much of a problem, but she's still very good for her utility, and her taunts are good. But then it's just like, in some cases, she's not really doing as much as, like, anyone above her, in my opinion, while still being pretty good. So I like that, like, what, we've got 4 fests in the top 10? So it's like, these are the, like, Mario came out in February, April. So it's like, she's 5 months old, almost 6. So, you know, it is actually, it is very, very, very good. All right, I'm recording this part, like what, I think 8 hours later, 9 hours later. But anyway, we're going to finish off the video and do number 9 and number 10. And if you guys haven't skipped to the end yet, you guys put down below who you think number 9 and number 10 is going to be in what order. I mean, I think you guys know which 2 units are 9 and 10, but in what order, I think that might be a bit of a surprise to you. So number 9 is going to be our boy William. Yup, William is number 9. And there's a reason. Well, obviously it's his skill 2. Okay, his skill 2 speeds up, gives attack, which right now is actually pretty good because of Black Divider. His combo obviously is good in the way that because of the fact his ult isn't always necessary, it works out. He's the quickest unit in the game alongside Charlotte, but then his combo in some cases is better because you can always use it where if Charlotte is taunted, you can't use hers, right? And then his ult, the counter on the ult is still very strong alongside damage reduction. But it's mainly a skill 2 with the ability to stun, which isn't bad. That puts him in number 9, alright? It's really because he could work with Black Divider. And then right now, it's just, he's very good with Black Divider. But, you know, Dorothy does kind of stop the buff block turn 1, which is William's biggest strength. I think if not, William might have been a bit higher. Before this, he probably would have been 7th or 6th. I'd say so, but now he's like 9 because, you know, buff block exists. I like to consider Dorothy in the mix. Not fully, right? She's not exactly dominating, but she's still very, very good. Now, number 10, Charlotte. So Charlotte goes in number 10 because There's too many greens. There's too many good greens that she doesn't even like. She's good. If she was red or blue, oh my god. For rainbow teams, for chaos units, she'd be amazing. But because she's green, if she's not on mono green, she's not really that, like, in terms of meta viability, right? She could be good for a lot of newer accounts, but meta viability? You're telling me you're going to use Charlotte over Mimosa or Vanessa? No, you're not. So that's the whole point. She's good on mono green, but that's her, like, only place, and even at that, like, she gives good support, but it's really just on that one team where she could, like, kind of support, but then it's like, she's more so just annoying. That's it. Like, she's good, but she's just annoying, okay? So that's kind of where we've gotten in the meta at this point in the game. I think she could re-get her steps if Sekre does have block barrier removal. So basically uncancelable barriers. If Sekre has that, Charlotte could definitely regain her dominance. But right now she's number 10, which considering she came out in season 5 and we're in season 12, I'd say that's crazy good. That's crazy good. Right? Like her and William, it's insane that they've lasted that long. Mimosa and Vetto, it's because obviously of 125, right? So it's a bit of a different case for them. And then I guess Vanessa, you could say that too. But anyway, now let's kind of rank these in order. Personally, I would like to say I'm really liking Vanessa right now. And then Julius too. His second life, especially with the second skill page, feels a lot more valuable than Magna right now. Mainly because buff block, and also Magna, I mean, sure, you could let him go crazy, but it's very hard for him to, I find. And then versus Mono Green, he doesn't even work that well. His MO just doesn't work versus Mono Green. Now, I would like to say Black Asta over Lotus, because Black Asta can be good, but then Lotus is there. So that kind of makes up top 15 for me. I don't really think I'd consider anyone else. Now, Finneral and Raya aren't in here. I don't know where I'd place them, honestly. I don't know. I like Julius over Raya personally, but I feel like Raya over time will actually gain a lot of value. So there's that to consider. So yeah, that's basically it for this top 10 units tier list, right? With some honorable mentions. You guys let me know your personal tier list and your personal rankings, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.